take drugs, Danny?
Every day.
Good.
All right.
Welcome, Totally Offside podcast. Damn it, Nathan, what is it? Episode 19.
19.
Good Lord. I'm going to be surprised by every episode that we do
I
from
know,
now
right?
until it's over.
I was surprised from episode 5 onward, to be honest.
You know, honestly, I didn't think we'd make it that far.
So, like, almost episode 20? That's crazy.
I can't wait for the 6 month mark.
Maybe episode 20 is when the rumored rebrand happens.
Well, that's kind of dependent on your actions, since you're lead branding guy.
Since I am the guy that's in charge of doing that.
Yeah, we might need to take a few steps into that and see what we have to change. But thankfully, we're not too developed, so it's not like much is finished yet.
Yeah, no, not at all.
All right, Nate. Well,
anyway, yeah, we got a bunch of notes today, so
yeah, I don't know. It feels crazy, but I don't think it is that crazy because I'm not talking about 6 things. We're
that's
split
true.
even.
That's
so,
true.
All right. Well,
yeah, I'm gonna be taking up the brunt of the NHL news this time.
Yeah, I got tired of talking for 85% of the podcast. I thought it was a more fair split.
Yeah.
And Nathan's
anyway,
finally not just doing basketball, but he's going to damn sure start with basketball.
I'm going to start with basketball for sure. I kind of have a type with big men. We're starting with the Bucks as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
These guys were handed their first 2 losses. They're no longer undefeated, but they're still at the top of the league, so it doesn't really matter. They're 10-2 now, I think. They lost to the Spurs and the Hawks. The Hawks one, I kind of saw coming because I don't think Giannis was playing. And then the Spurs one kind of caught me off guard. I was like, that's...
The Spurs just seem to be, that's their theme this year, though.
Yeah, they're spoilers, they just like causing problems. Yeah,
they're spoilers.
I respect it. I'm okay with that. Boston looking like they've kind of figured it out. They're on a 6-game win streak. They now sit at the top of the Atlantic, 3.5 games above the Raptors.
Wow, that's a pretty big lead early on in the season.
Early in the season, that's a pretty big gap. Like, I don't think the Raptors are tied with the Sixers right now, so it's technically it's also 3.5 games.
That makes me feel
Sixers,
like the Raptors are doing worse than they are. Because, like,
but I mean,
Philly brought it back up lately. They were bad for a while.
Philly's kind of rebounded, but like the fact that Toronto can kind of keep up with Boston and Philly is
a
pretty
great
impressive.
sign.
It's a good sign, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm expecting a playoff run.
I don't know how you can
maybe 1 to 2, like conference semis, probably the furthest.
Fair.
Because just getting by teams like the Bucks and the Celtics. They kind of suck right now. So.
Well, yeah, but still, those top teams are going to be the ones that you're going to have to get by.
Yeah. I think we can beat the Hawks. We can beat the team that I'm going to mention a little bit later. I don't think we can beat the Cavs in a series. But, we can put up a good playoff run, I think.
I don't know, man. When Toronto gets hot, they run things
That's true. That's true. And we arguably have one of the smartest coaches in the league. If not the smartest coach in the league.
It's hard to argue.
That's true. I was going to say arguably the smartest coach in the league, but Greg Popovich is still around, so...
I guess that's fair.
But anyway, Cleveland, unfortunately, they're coming back down to earth. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They've lost the Clippers, and they've lost to the Kings, the Warriors, and the Timberwolves.
But the Timberwolves one was good because Darius Garland dropped, 51?
Yeah, he dropped something like that, 51.
Something like that?
Or no, it was like 59?
Yeah, it was like a 50-point game in a loss.
It was a crazy number.
He was like, 13 for 15 from beyond the arc or something? I don't know.
He was going... No, I think it was 51. Joel was the one that dropped 59.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was wild. But all 3 of those teams are below 500, so that's a little bit of a problem.
I guess, but it is the Warriors and the Timberwolves, and kind of regardless of the record, they're still talented teams.
Yeah, that's true. But they have Milwaukee up next, so kind of expect that 4-game losing streak to push to 5 games. Unfortunately, because Milwaukee is Milwaukee, but you never know. Cleveland might put up a good
they
fight.
Just lost
Darius
twice. Anything can happen.
That's true. Speaking of the opposite of cold teams, there's
the
Washington Wizards right now.
Weirdness streak.
The Washington Wizards. I've been high on these guys since the preseason, and it's currently paying off. These guys are on a 4-game win streak, beating Memphis, Utah, Dallas, and Charlotte. But they beat all 4 of them by 10 points or more, excluding Charlotte, which they beat by 8.
So close enough.
But yeah, I think they're sitting in 6th right now. They're having 8-6 record. Kristaps Porzingis looks terrific. They won without Bradley Beal. Kyle Kuzma has been really impressive.
I gotta say, buddy, you might have been on one when you called out Washington at the beginning of the season. I can't lie. Like this, they're playing really tight. It seems
they have because Memphis, Utah, and Dallas are all like top of the league-ish. Charlotte isn't. We're gonna get to Charlotte later, but Charlotte not so much. But the fact that they beat them all by 10 or more, like that's
impressive.
That's impressive.
You're not just edging out wins. You know what I mean? You're icing games with minutes left. Yeah.
Because I'm not saying these guys are gonna be championship contenders by any means. I just think they're gonna be a dark horse in the playoffs to kind of be a spoiler. Like they're gonna play like the San Antonio Spurs of the East.
You get basically 1 or 2 of those teams in the playoffs, it makes the playoffs far more interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because these guys have nothing to lose. They're just
exactly.
So they're like no one expected us to be here.
It's like once the Baltimore Orioles started getting good this year, it was just like Camden Yards was filled. Like fans started coming because it's like, yeah, we have no hope, but god damn it, we're winning. Like
speaking of a team who had no hope, actually,
yeah,
we're gonna just segue that one. No hope into and now they're winning. The Philadelphia 76ers. They're now on a 2-game win streak on a combined 101, 21, and 14 stat line from Joel over 2 games.
He was clearly distracted by the Phillies in the World Series, and then he had to get over the fact that they lost. And now that he's over it, he's
over it, he put up 100 points in 2 games. That's insane.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's stupid.
It's crazy.
That's so ridiculous. He has no business doing that.
No. This man was just like, no, we forgot that I'm in the MVP conversation as well.
I haven't heard my name in a while.
He's like, no one's been talking about me. Maybe you should do something about that.
That's awesome. That's what you want, though. Crazy. I want Embiid to be doing this.
Oh, yeah. I want him to be in the MVP conversation because he 100% deserves it. As much as I don't want Philly to succeed, I think he's a really, really good player, obviously. So, shout out Joel Embiid. Good job.
Could be one of the more interesting, free agents if that's the route he chooses.
I feel like he's gonna stay. I think he's gonna stay loyal to Philly.
I think he does too, but I just mean he could be like a league altering free agent.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. They have the Bucks next on the 18th, following a well-deserved 4-day rest after Joel Embiid's crazy performances.
Oh yeah, put your feet up.
So they don't play for the next 4 days. They got.
Do you think that affects them going to play the Bucks? Do you think that 4 days is too long of a stretch, or that's a good rest?
I think it's a good rest. It's a unusually long rest, but I think it's a good rest. I think they need it, especially Joel needs it to kind of just like.
What do you think? Do you think Joel's like Jordan? He's going out hitting the golf course, or what do they do on those 4 days?
I think Joel's just sitting on Twitter trying to get his blue check mark back.
Oh yeah, that's not as exciting. He's got to pay Joel's that $7 in a month now.
It's $8.
Yeah, we learned about that in class. Look at that.
Which is hilarious because someone did the math on it, and Twitter actually loses money from people buying Twitter Blue.
Really?
Because it costs them $6 in revenue, and if you buy it on iOS, then Apple gets a third of the of the revenue. So it's a third of the eighth minus $6.
Fucking hilarious.
So it was actually cheaper to have it. Was actually more money efficient to have it be free.
That's so funny, dude. Oh my god. So glad I care so little about that platform.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny to me.
I know we have an account on it, but
Twitter,
Jesus.
yeah, we have a Twitter, but it doesn't even have a segment, so it doesn't matter.
No, I know. I try to keep it a little bit active, but like this just makes it so like I don't want to use Twitter now. I refuse.
Yeah, no. Catch us on Instagram instead. Moving on to Charlotte. The Hornets are currently sitting on a league tie 8-game loss streak. 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Oh my god.
They're 3-11 overall, and they're still not the worst team in the league.
So what? They started off 2-2 and then went 1-9.
Yeah.
It's fucked.
And somehow they're not at the bottom because Detroit, Houston, and the Lakers are all below them.
That blows my mind.
You know what's hilarious though?
What?
The Lakers don't even have their pick this year.
Oh, you're right.
It's the Pelicans that have their pick this year.
Oh so, my god, you're laughing your balls off in New Orleans right now.
Wembanyama wouldn't even be going to LA. They'd have Zion and Wemby.
God.
What do you even do at that point? Zion, Wemby, and Jonas Valanciunas comes off the bench.
Well, JV would be moved if you drafted.
I would trade JV, or I would play Zion at the 3.
Really?
JV at the 4.
Wow.
Wemby at the 5.
That would be a beastly fucking starting 5.
And then you You run Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram at the 1-2.
Oh my god, that's an all-star lineup.
That's a lanky lineup.
Dude, that's like, there's like potentially, Hall of Famers in there.
That lineup would be chip worthy right there. And then off your bench, you have like, who? Well, recently their bench hasn't been great, but they have like Najee Marshall who kind of stepped up.
Isn't Jose Alvarez like, was the talking
Alvarado?
Sorry.
There, yeah.
Baseball.
Grand Theft Alvarado.
Yeah. Can he shoot?
He's great. He can't really shoot, but he plays good D.
Isn't that the clip? And can he shoot?
Oh yeah, can he shoot? Yes, I can. He shoots
That's so funny.
But he can't. No, he can't really shoot. I mean, they got Herb Jones. They got Trey Murphy.
Right.
They got ballers out there. Okay.
I don't know, man. If your starting lineup ends with fucking Zion, JV, and Wemby, I don't care who's on your bench. My whole depth conversation just gets thrown out the window at that point.
You're just like play all 5.
Give those guys 40 minutes a game, and you're gonna win 60 games a season.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure. They immediately become a contender. Like,
oh yes,
no doubt.
Whoever gets Wemby immediately becomes a contender in my mind.
That's true. That's true.
Like I don't care if Utah gets Wemby. Like they're okay contender.
Utah,
like that's
Utah
what I think.
Is already looking like one, and now they'll just look more like one. All right, taking a look at the West, we got Portland returns to the throne, tied with Utah and Denver. Minnesota's falling apart. Minnesota sucks right now. Utah is no longer, well, they're still the powerhouse that they've been looking like.
Right.
Just not as impressive, I guess, would be
They're
the
not
word.
Dominating, that's for sure.
No, they're not destroying everybody. But so the Northwestern Division holds the top 3 of the 5 player teams in the Northwestern Division hold the top 3 spots in the West.
Wow.
Yeah. It's literally Portland, Denver, Utah are the top 3 in the Northwestern, and they're the top 3 in the West.
That's crazy,
so,
dude.
I know, one division is just running the league pretty much.
It's like the American League East.
Pretty much.
Like either of the Eastern divisions in baseball, really. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Basketball's I don't follow basketball heavily. Is it this up and down and ridiculous every season?
It's the beginning of the season is always really hectic because like one game and you fall like 4 spots.
Yeah, it's because they're the sample size, yes. But like What are we? Almost like we're 2 weeks
We're
in?
like 15. We're like 15 games in roughly.
Yeah, like I feel like by now things should be normalizing a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's all over the place.
They're opposite.
Constantly. Utah is still disgustingly good. They're not dominating, but they're still disgustingly good for the expectations that we set for them.
Exactly.
Lauri Markkanen is 100% going to be an all-star this year if he keeps this up to February.
Those jerseys.
No, I actually want to watch Utah basketball.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Well, here's the thing, right? I didn't pay attention to Utah basketball when Donovan and Rudy played there.
Exactly.
Now I am watching Utah basketball,
which is Lauri crazy.
Plus, Lauri Markkanen has one of the best nicknames in basketball. The man's nickname is the Finisher.
That's awesome.
Such a good nickname.
I don't know. I mean, it is easier to cheer for a team when it's something like they have no expectations.
Yeah, they're an underdog, right?
Like, exactly. It's always easy to cheer for the underdog. That's why Baltimore's fans filled out the end of the season, right? Like that's what sports is. Watch any Disney sports movie.
They lost to the Sixers and the Wizards, but they're still sitting at 10-5. They're still 5 games above 500. Which is like at 15 games, that's a lot. Like that's are
stupid.
Like the Bucks are 10-2.
Yeah.
Well, if the Bucks were to lose 3 more games, then I think they're only a game and they're a game and a half behind the Jazz or the Bucks right now.
Holy crap.
Imagine being you're the Utah Jazz where your best player is Lauri Markkanen and your second best player is arguably Colin Sexton.
Can't even have a real beer to celebrate your game.
And you are 1.5 games behind a 2-time MVP, 1-time DPOY, an NBA champion who can very well carry an entire team on his own. Like, if you put Giannis on, like, Charlotte is good.
Exactly.
That's how good Giannis is. And the fact that this, like, ragtag group of misfits, Utah is the equivalent of an expansion team right now.
Basically.
They're literally just a team of players that nobody wanted except for Jordan Clarkson because everybody loves Jordan Clarkson. But it's just a team full of players that nobody wanted is now, it's the Golden Knights.
Basically, but I don't know, man. I bought way more into that than I still buy into this.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I don't think these guys are making the finals. The Golden Knights
like by the All-Star break, this is all wrapped up. We haven't talked about them in weeks, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, unless Utah keeps doing good, I don't think they're going to be talked about every single week. But as long as they are still doing good, I'm going to keep bringing them up because they're worth talking about.
They're giving us headlines. I'm not going to reject headlines.
At the bottom of the Northwestern Division, Minnesota sits there behind OKC. Minnesota is 6-8 right now, despite having probably the best front court in the league, on paper at least.
Minnesota, to me, feels vaguely like the Texas Rangers this season, where you just like brought in a fleet of Brinks trucks for a couple of guys, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you don't even have the next year doesn't even factor into that decision because you're already preparing for the year after that.
Because like if you think about it, right? These guys they paid Kat, who's on a max. They paid Rudy, who's on a max. D'Angelo Russell's contract is not that cheap.
When
Anthony
is his
Edwards
up?
Is I think he's on a contract year right now. He's not coming back if he keeps playing the way he is.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards is on his rookie, but he's going to want a bag.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen McDaniels is probably going to want some decent money because he's been performing well.
Yeah.
Who else do they have?
See, but already I'm seeing the parallel. So what I think happens here is when they gave, Kat and Rudy those contracts, they didn't even care what happened in the following season. Right? No. Because if you get the young guys another year here to develop, you get them working with these bigs, you get, like you say, that contract coming off the books, hopefully this year. you start putting that money towards a piece next year, or a couple pieces that you think fill out the areas here where you have gaps after D'Lo.
They have to get rid of D'Lo because they need to get rid of D'Lo so that they can pay.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like that's where the money comes. So you get those guys, and then you get wherever the gaps are. And I think you just ride next season, hoping that Anthony Edwards and everybody is developed and that, it's paying off then.
I don't think it will.
This year, you're hoping for draft stock.
This year we're seeing that, and that Cat and Rudy don't work super well together. Whereas like before, because on paper everyone was like, you have the best shooting center in the league and the best defending center in the league, but they both have to be playing the center.
Mm-hmm.
Like as much as Minnesota's trying to make it happen, Cat is not a power forward by any means. So like either you have one come off the bench and try and get that to work, or you play through Cat more than you are right now, because they're not. They're playing through Anthony and they're playing through D'Angelo, and D'Angelo is just fallen off this year, which is sad because he's not old, but like.
Well, no, but they drastically altered the way that system functions.
Yeah. So like D'Lo doesn't fit here.
Exactly.
Ant is a trigger happy player, so like he needs the ball a lot. So that kind of doesn't really help either. But Minnesota they have a lot of time to figure it out.
Exactly, and I think that's what they're banking on.
Yeah, and like, yes, they're behind OKC, but Shea is playing at an all NBA level right now. So shout out Canadian, by the way. And lastly, in the West, we're going to talk about San Antonio, who have fully calmed down now. They're below 500. They're back to the Spurs that we were kind of expecting out of them. They went on a 5-game losing streak, and then they just won a game. They started at 5-2. They're now at 6-7.
Yep.
That sounds about right.
Kind of what we were anticipating.
This is what we thought the Utah Jazz were going to be doing, and they're not.
Yeah, we can't always be right, but we have to be right in this situation.
Yes. If a team is bad, eventually they're going to have to be bad, right?
Eventually that record is going to reflect that.
They play a struggling Warriors roster. Technically tonight at 10 p.m., but I guess for the people that are listening, it'll have played yesterday. Yeah. So we'll know. They'll know what the score was, and they'll be able to see if San Antonio goes up to 500 or if the Warriors get their 4th win of the season.
Oh man,
it's rough.
How long has it been since the Warriors came into a game against San Antonio and had the worst record?
I know, right?
Probably a decade or more.
Oh, for sure. The Spurs, it would have had to have been when the Spurs had like Tim Duncan and David Robinson.
That's what I mean.
Or maybe like
even then the Warriors were decent, right?
Maybe like the Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker one, because the Spurs were probably the better team at that time.
That's true. Yeah, that's probably it. But that's like what, 2013?
Yeah, it's like that's a while ago.
Yeah, like a decade ago, my friend.
So
crazy.
Cherish it now, San Antonio, even if you don't win. And now Nate, for my favorite segment.
Exactly.
Jersey Talk. Or as I have it listed, Jersey Talk.
There you go. This is a big one. This is a big one.
Following, 2 weeks ago that the NHL released their reverse retros? This week, the NBA released their City Edition jerseys for all 30 teams. So we're going to take a look at those. Travis is probably going to have them
MLB.
We're going to start. What should we do? Top row, left to right?
Call me out your favorites. Call me out your headliners.
Okay. I'm rocking with Atlanta.
Atlanta's is very fun.
We've seen Boston's. I like Boston's. I like Golden State's as a shirt.
I will say Cleveland's looked good in the highlights of Darius Garland the other day.
Cleveland
looks good
nice
on the floor.
The Clippers one is nice. Memphis never screws up theirs.
No, Memphis has some serious. They may have the hardest jerseys in the fucking NBA. I can't lie.
New York gives me Carmelo Anthony vibes, so I rock with those.
Yeah, you have an attachment to that. I don't. Yeah. Philly, then, I enjoy.
I don't mind the Philly ones. Yeah, I'm not huge on them, but I don't hate them. And the Spurs, and then Toronto.
Sacramento's, I think I like more than I did when I initially looked at this.
I thought Toronto's was gonna be. I thought Toronto's was bad at first, but then I saw that it had. Yeah, I noticed the pattern, and I was like, oh, okay, they're nice.
And well, yeah, once you see that, it's cool.
I like Washington just because they have Rui Hachimura, so like.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cherry Blossom works with them.
What are your absolute, like, give me your three least favorites.
My three least favorites: Minnesota, Phoenix, and Indiana.
Phoenix. I know you hate the Pacers ones.
The Pacers ones.
You don't like Minnesota?
I don't hate the Minnesota.
Minnesota looks like a international tournament team jersey.
It looks so bad.
It looks like an Olympic jersey or something.
It looks like an Olympic. These are the ones that we brought up before where I was like, I take it back from Detroit. I'm sorry, Detroit. I didn't mean it. Minnesota looks like a swim team.
I don't know, man. If I had to go my three least favorites, I think I'd probably go between Sacramento and Philly is Phoenix, right? Or is that the one to the left of Philly?
Yeah.
What's the one to the left of Philly?
That's Portland.
Portland? Okay, I thought so. So I would say that my least favorite then is probably Phoenix, Orlando, and Houston, only because Orlando and Houston, I've just seen those jerseys before, and Phoenix is just, what the fuck?
Yeah, Phoenix, I don't know what's going on there. They're like trying to be the Spurs.
Is interesting.
Portland's is nice as a jersey. It's bad as a Trailblazers jersey.
Kinda, yeah.
It's I don't super like the Detroit ones either.
No, but I'm interested in them.
Yeah, I really do like the Clippers ones though. I think the Clippers ones are really, really nice.
The Lakers ones and the Memphis ones are two really, really nice ones.
Yeah, because the Clippers ones give me Drew League vibes.
Yeah, the Clippers ones are cool for sure, and they're very Clippers. I like them.
The Lakers ones are just like vintage. So
exactly, yeah, they're not like special, but I think they look clean.
Milwaukee, I also liked. I was big on the Milwaukee ones when I first saw
Charlotte's is, I don't know.
Charlotte's, I'm not huge on Charlotte's.
I don't think so. It's like Cleveland's. It's interesting, but it's not interesting enough. Again, maybe watching LaMelo go off in that is going to look cool.
Maybe it'll change my mind.
So, I don't know. I'll give it time.
I would say if I had to rate all of the jerseys in one rating, I'd say probably like a 7 out of 10.
The set as a whole, you mean?
Yeah, as a whole. I'd say 7 out of 10. There's a lot of good ones in there. There's a lot I really, really like. There's only
very few I despise.
Yeah, there's only maybe like 3 that I really hate.
Which we've learned in this day and age of jerseys is a very rare thing.
Yeah, normally I just hate all of them.
Normally I'm reaching for a handful I think are cool.
So yeah, I think 7 out of 10 probably. There's a few that are there that I'm like, I've seen them before. Like the Brooklyn one, that's just the white version of the black ones they had. So it is what it is. New Orleans is never really fancy with theirs.
No, they could. I like their red ones. When they had like
I like the red ones.
That was cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that's 7 out of 10. I think it was pretty good. I'm a big fan of the majority of them.
I can't wait for a retrospective of all the Nike City Connect jerseys once they're finally out.
I think every team should just do, or every league should just do reverse retros. I think it should be a thing.
I think
because then it's like it's just figuring out the colors at that point, pretty much.
Yeah.
So like, it's super doable. Basically, what I'm saying is NBA, MLB, NFL, even get on it.
I love coming across on like Instagram like the league jersey swaps where you'll see like NFL jerseys as like the MLB teams.
Those are so sick.
That shit's cool. I'd love to see like even just a city do that. Like the one day where all the New York teams were playing, I feel like it would have been fun if there was something in place where it's like they were wearing the other team's jersey as theirs. Just because like that never happens, and you get all your city in. How fun would that? I don't know. Maybe fans of each sport would be like, "This is fucking stupid." But as a fan of all the sports, I think that's cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. If the Rangers had like Giants jerseys on,
exactly. You know what I mean?
That would be cool.
I guess I don't know if the Yankees could ever wear anything but pinstripes, but
that's true. People might get uncomfortable about that.
They'd have to, yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. It's a bad idea. On.
We're on to hockey now.
Fuck yeah.
Got my eye on the three of you guys. You pull one thing, you're out of this game. Now I run a clean game here. I have any trouble, I'll suspend you. I'm listening to a fucking song!
Yeah, Hockey Hall of Fame Legends Classic happened yesterday our time. So 2 days ago, podcast time.
I believe, I'm not going to go as far to call him a friend because I don't know him that well, but a guy I grew up with, known as Always Hockey on Instagram. I believe he was there doing like he does like skills, a hockey skills guy. You should check him out. Zach's a sick guy. He just had killer hands. He was at like NHL All-Star doing the same thing. So
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I wish I could do that. I wish I could skate.
No, literally, just Google Always Hockey, and you'll see like Sportsnet videos and stuff with him. Like, yeah, he's pretty sick. Anyway, keep going, buddy.
I was there in the sense that I was in Toronto.
Okay.
I walked by the Air Canada Center, the Scotiabank.
It'll always be the ACC.
It's the Air Canada Center. So I walked by and I saw a bunch of people in like Leafs jerseys. I saw one guy in an Alfredson jersey. I was like, what the heck is going on? and then I looked at it. I was like, oh, right.
Makes sense.
But anyway, it was Team Lindros versus Team Sundin.
This would have been a good weekend if you were in Toronto then. You should have gone to that, and then you also should have gone to the CFL Eastern Finals game between Montreal and Toronto.
We were driving home.
You should have stopped. It was one of the better games I've watched in like CFL history, I think.
And so...
sorry. Keep going.
No problem. We'll get to it. I think you have a CFL note somewhere.
I honestly didn't end up adding any, but I watched it and I paid attention to the Lions game, so I can, we're good.
So it's Team Eric Lindros versus Team Matt Sundin. Team Lindros had Eric Lindros, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Roberto Luongo as a defender.
Which is hilariously cool. It's my best friend's brother. It's like his favorite player ever, and I watched him play goalie forever. And just him out there as a defender sounds so fun.
Kevin Bieksa, Wendell Clark, Dan Hamhuis, Brian McCabe, and Corey Schneider were all notable players on Team Lindros.
Huge names.
I see there's a lot of Canucks in this game.
There is.
I know that there's a lot of Canucks.
Love it.
And beautiful players on Team Sundin.
Let's go, the Sedin twins. Let's go.
Daniel Sedin and Henrik Sedin. Tessa Bonhomme, Brian Boucher, Patrice Misbois, Chris Neal, Jason Spezza, and Pierre Turgeon.
Jason Spezza was like just in the league too, which is fun.
Yeah, I feel like Team Sundin is so much more stacked.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
If you have Daniel Alfredson and the Sedin twins,
well, that's true. You do have a lot more recent players. Like Eric Lindros' team is definitely older.
I mean, like BX is not that old.
Paired with, nothing against Eric Lindros. He might forget where he is mid-game. And
probably did the Phil Kessel method, where you just skate, get the puck, pass the puck.
Well, yeah, I don't know, because Eric Lindros, I feel like one of the most famous NHL stories, right, of bad brain.
Yeah, when I first saw this, I thought it was it looked like it was gonna be like a fight card kind of thing, right? And I was like, Matt Sundin is fighting Eric Lindros.
That's so funny, dude.
I was like, no disrespect to Matt Sundin, but Lindros is known as a
Matt Sundin was like, when I was too little to even really know hockey, he was my favorite hockey player. And when I was so young, I couldn't comprehend that his name was Mats Sundin.
I thought it was Matt.
No, I know. When I was like 6, that blew my fucking mind. I'm like, see, it's there and you don't really say it, and it's part of his last name too, but it's not one word. Like, my brain melted.
Yep. For the longest time, I thought it was just Matt Sundin.
Yeah, but that's cool.
I learned that he's not North American.
Old-timer hockey games are some of the best things ever, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're just slow, though. I feel like it's the only issue.
Well, yeah, but the nice thing about hockey is that, like, old guys playing it, it's just a slower version. It's not like, with football, most of them are like too crippled to do anything. You could probably hardly get flag football out of most of them. Like, hockey, you can kind of just glide around past the puck. Like, still works.
Still hockey.
Yeah.
Now looking at the NHL, though, where it is fast-paced and players are getting laid out constantly. New Jersey's currently, we're going to go division by division. In the Metro, New Jersey sits on top following a 9-game win streak. They're now 12-3, with the Islanders hot on their tail at 10-6.
Let's go.
9-game win streak.
That's huge for New Jersey, man.
That's massive. And a team that was sitting at the top just like 2 weeks ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins, are with the Washington Capitals and the Columbus Blue Jackets at the bottom, with Pittsburgh being the only team at 500 or higher.
Wow, the Devils have just been crushing Canadian teams in this too, by the way, at least in the last week. Senators, 2 games against the Flames, the Oilers, and the Canucks are their last 5 games. They've beaten every one of them, so wow.
Yeah, New Jersey's going crazy right now.
Sorry, I had to look that up. I can't remember a time where New Jersey's been like good in my life.
I know, right? New Jersey's just been bad for the longest time.
I haven't paid attention to hockey since they were good.
I remember when they had Patrick Elias.
Oh, yeah.
And Ilya Kovalchuk, I think, for a little bit. That was like the main time I watched the Devils.
Kovalchuk would have been what, like 37?
Or he would have been post Thrashers.
Was it after? Because he finished with the Kings, didn't he?
Oh, I don't remember. This is a long time ago. I just remember. I mainly remember on the Thrashers.
Okay, let's take. Oh, there's the first picture of him that comes up is him in a Canadiens jersey. That's kind of neat. All right, let's see what his last roster years kind of looked like here. Atlanta from 01 to 2010, New Jersey from 09 to 2013, Kings from 18 to 20, and then a year with Montreal, and he split that year, 2019 and 2020, with the Kings, the Canadiens, and then 7 games with Washington. And that was that.
I didn't think he made it all the way to 2020.
Dude, yeah, I didn't know that either. I mean, I knew he played for the Kings, but I didn't realize it was 2018-19.
Yeah, I thought he retired way before that.
Sorry, we learned something today.
Yeah. In the Atlantic, Boston is a blazing hot 14-2 right now, with the next closest team being Toronto at 8-5-3.
Man, not even double-digit wins yet.
Yeah, I know, right? My Montreal Canadiens sit tied for third with an 8-6-1 record. They're tied with Florida, Detroit, and Tampa Bay.
Ooh.
So it's a 4-team fight for third right now.
Tampa Bay is going to pull away from all of them, though.
Probably. I think Montreal can probably fight for fourth. Maybe fifth.
Tampa's probably 2 or 3, right? I feel like Boston's got it this year.
I think Toronto's going to do the classic, be mediocre to good in the regular season and then hit the playoffs. And
collapse. First round exit, boys. Get your golf clubs shining.
Over again. Every single year. In the Central, Winnipeg and Dallas are playing musical chairs for the top spot. The Jets are currently sitting in said chair due to one last game being played. They have the same record as Winnipeg has played one last game, therefore they have a higher win percentage.
It always weirds me out when Dallas is good. It's not a hockey city to me. It'll never be a hockey city.
I mean, they had Mike Modano for a bit.
They did. Team legend.
Technically, they had Jamie Benn, but like Jamie Benn's not really a Mike Modano-esque guy.
No, I've liked a lot of their players. It's just when the team's good, it's like, what the fuck's going on?
It kind of throws you off.
Like, even when the Predators are great, when they're winning and stuff, like, I don't know, something about maybe it's because where I grew up, like, the Predators is the AAA team, so I don't know. Maybe.
Waiting their turn to play said game of musical chairs. Colorado Avalanche are sitting at 8-4-1, just 2 points in 2 games behind second place.
Again, so Colorado and Winnipeg gotta run away in the Central, I feel like.
Yeah, I think Colorado is gonna just pick it up and go.
They're gonna click and things are gonna be fun.
They have a player who's poised to who's just already chasing the GOAT defender title.
Cale Makar.
Cale Makar is insane.
He's like a generational defender.
So, like, you know, you can't deny Colorado purely due to the fact that they had Cale Makar.
And the fact that they're the defending champions, right?
Yeah, and like Gabriel Landeskog is still good. And
that's what I mean. Colorado's gonna click. It's gonna be fun.
No, it's Colorado. In the Pacific, it's all about Vegas, baby.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden Knights are sitting at a scorching 13-3 with a plus 22 in goal differential, sitting only behind Boston in the Atlantic with a plus 30. But like, plus 22?
That's crazy, dude.
We're 16 games in.
I love it. You're just blowing teams out every game.
Plus 22 is insane. They're winning by like this is more than 1 point victories.
It's crazy when you put it into perspective of Boston being plus 30, but
yeah, Boston's on like in a tier of its own right now.
Yeah, that's something I didn't think you could do this early on, but this is impressive no matter what way you cut it up.
The Kings are only 5 points behind them with a 10-6-1 record, and then Seattle is 2 behind both of them, or behind them, sorry, at 8-5-3.
I like that the Kings are playing well, and I like that Seattle is doing well, but not obviously what Vegas did. Yeah, I'm happy with how the Pacific's playing out.
It's nice to see the expansion teams both doing well.
Well, Vegas, not that I can say anybody had expectations of this for this year, but I wanted them to be much better, and this is much better.
Oh, we forgot to mention Phil Kessel and the Iron Man thing. I think Phil Kessel has broken the record for the most consecutive games.
Which is crazy.
Which is insane.
Google Phil Kessel.
Phil Kessel, great. Google a photo of Phil Kessel and tell me that this guy is the most durable
cheeseburgers at. You know what I mean? Like,
this is what eating hot dogs does constantly for you, apparently.
I don't know, man. I was mad at Phil Kessel when he was a Penguin, but god damn it, he's way better of a hockey player than I ever gave him credit for.
Phil Kessel is insane. It's like he hasn't even gotten sick or anything. Like,
I didn't realize COVID, like even where he was at the time. Like, I didn't even notice what team he was playing for. I have lost track of him.
Phil Kessel is insane. I think he's in Vegas right now. But Phil Kessel if you Google Phil Kessel and just keep in mind the fact that is the most durable player in hockey. This is the man who has lasted the most consecutive games in the NHL. I
love it. Good for Phil Kessel, man.
And then my last note is that Anaheim sucks. They're 4-10-1. They got a 300 win percentage.
Good. Fuck Anaheim.
They're terrible. Anaheim is so bad. And that's about it for the hockey report. Do you need to get something off your chest?
No, I hate the Mighty Ducks. That's about the side.
Okay.
So therefore, the Anaheim Ducks can lick my balls, so to say.
And that is it for the NHL report. Moving on to something that we have never covered before.
Which, I'm not going to lie to you, Nathan, I'm kind of excited to cover.
I am too, because
I've never had a reason to be interested.
We we don't get to cheer about this very often.
Hey, how about a little something, for the effort,
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Not since I think 1984 or 86 as Canadians.
1986.
Yeah, there you go.
The World Cup is starting on November 20th with Qatar versus Ecuador, and Canada will be participating.
Where is FIFA again this year? Is it Abu Dhabi? No, where is it?
That's the only reason Qatar made it, is because it's...
I didn't know if it's just always there. Okay.
You know who isn't there? Italy.
Really? Okay.
Because they lost to North Macedonia.
Whoa. Country I've never heard of.
Was a while ago. This was a while ago. But yeah, they're not in the World Cup.
You know who else
the Euro
I don't
Cup
see in the FIFA Cup is North Macedonia, so that's interesting.
So that's a little depressing for Italy. But I figured we'll just go through group by group. Maybe we'll have some words to say about each one. And then we'll kick it off to some other sports.
You're asking a lot of me here.
I mean, you could just say maybe there's a country in there that you've never heard of. Who knows? Green Group A, we got Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. I'm 99% sure Netherlands is just going to stomp this group.
Really?
Yeah, when you look at it, most of the time the European countries are the ones that win.
For some reason, Qatar and Ecuador both feel like they should beat the shit out of the Netherlands, just in my head.
I mean,
I've been to the Netherlands. The people there are just prettier versions of me. Like that, I don't know. They're
Netherlands
normal people.
Are good.
Qatar and Ecuador, I feel like they're one of like soccer is blood type of people, right?
They are, but there's not enough good Qatar players.
Senegal just breeds basketball players, as far as I can tell.
As far as I'm concerned.
I'm not to be ignorant, but
honestly, I would have Netherlands at 1. Wow. And then it's a toss-up between Ecuador and Senegal, and I think Qatar's last.
I've been to the Netherlands. I can 1,000% say I would live there for sure. I love that country.
Oh yeah, they love us too.
No,
we love them.
It was great. I went there for like a Vimy Ridge 100th anniversary celebration, like anniversary thing with my high school, and we went. It was crazy. They loved Canadians there. It was aside from that, it's just so beautiful. It's perfect. So it's beautiful. Group B.
Group B, England. Football might be coming home. Who knows? Iran, USA, Wales.
It's a good group.
Out of spite, I have England and Wales. Moving on.
I think that really that's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Just out of my
limited knowledge.
Well, I have a decent knowledge of soccer, but
my limited knowledge.
Due to my bias against the States, potential, we're gonna put England and Wales. The States do have a decent soccer team, but I do think Wales is actually better. And then England is obviously the best team in that group.
Mm-hmm.
Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland.
Didn't know Poland had a soccer team.
They have Robert Lewandowski, and it's also, and everyone who isn't Robert Lewandowski, their last name looks like a Wi-Fi password. That is Poland. That is the Polish soccer team.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
Argentina is probably going to dominate that group. Mexico it's going to be Mexico or Poland probably the second seed.
Okay.
Group E, France, Australia, Denmark.
You went to E and then read D. Sorry.
What?
I said Group E and then you went France, Australia.
I said Group D.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. But they got France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. France is going to dominate. Denmark's going to come second. Mm-hmm. I don't know about 3-4.
No. That's
Group E, Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan, Spain, Germany. I don't see any other outcome.
No.
Group F, Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. I don't think we're making it out of our group, but I would like to see us make it out of our group. Honestly, I'm just happy to be there. I think we have a chance
at two.
I'm just happy to be. Croatia's really good though.
I know, so but I'm thinking like Morocco, Belgium, we have a chance to take either one of those.
I think we can beat Morocco.
You don't think we have a chance against Belgium? No. Really? Okay.
Yeah, but we can beat Morocco, hopefully.
I don't know.
Honestly, I'm just happy to be there. I just want to participate as a country.
Let me check the roster, because frankly, I feel like we have some good Canadian soccer players.
I'm telling you, man, Belgium's got, I think they have Lukaku's there. Mayhaps. If I can find the roster.
Alistair Johnson, I've definitely heard of.
Courtois is good.
Where's the name I'm looking for? There's a name Alphonso Davies is the one I was looking for. Alphonso Davies is the man.
But like, Belgium has Lukaku, Eden Hazard.
Come on. Don't hate on the Canadians. You're a Canadian. I feel like we have a chance at 2.
Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think we can do it, but
God damn it, Nathan.
I do respect the patriotism.
All right, finish this up so we can find out when we can watch this.
All right. Group G. Well, it's November 20th. Group G, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. We personally know someone who has money on Serbia to win it all.
Of course he does.
They're in a group with Brazil, so that's not happening.
Yeah, you're hard pressed.
So you've already lost.
Maybe if you were in Group H, it'd be all right. Even then, you're fucked.
Yeah, even there, yeah. And then Group H, you got Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, Korea.
So
Portugal, and then the others. Canada starts their tournament off against Belgium November 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Let's go.
So we should watch that, and I'm
assuming that'll be on TSN somewhere. I'm gonna tag that in my calendar right now, Nathan. I'm not even lying to you. That's a Wednesday too, Nathan?
Oh, we don't even have class.
We got no class. Well, I have no class. Get it?
Well, I get it.
You got it.
I got it.
I'm gonna set it to 1 hour before, so we have time to prepare snacks.
All right, perfect.
Okay.
And those are my notes for the week.
That's Nate.
That's me.
Damn, we're sitting pretty at 50 minutes?
15 minutes.
All right. Well, okay, I was doing a This Day in Sports, and I want to do it because there's some fun notes in here, but mostly because I linked 2 YouTube clips that I don't know if you'll even get, but I want you to watch just because I needed a reason to share them with people. But yeah, we'll give her a This Day in Sports. 1936. More than 21,000 watched Don Bradman score 192 for South Australia versus Victoria in a drawn Sheffield Shield match at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Nathan, how many of those words do you understand?
I understood 21,000 watching, scoring.
That's about it, right?
And cricket.
It's 192. Apparently, it's like one of the all-time scoring matches.
Is that the record? Is that
maybe? It sounds insane, but everything about cricket sounds insane.
Is that in a career or is that in a game?
No, that was a game. That was one game.
Oh.
But like, I know games can last days. So
that's true. That's true.
I don't know, man.
A lot. That's a lot.
Cricket's a project. All right, we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get around there.
1957, Milwaukee Brave Hank Aaron wins NL MVP. 1964, Detroit Red Wings Detroit Red Wings Gordie Howe sets NHL record 627th career goal. 1966, Muhammad Ali TKOs Cleveland Williams in 3 for the heavyweight fight. I don't even know what video I linked here. It's the Coming to America. Yeah, if you haven't seen that one. God damn it, if a man wants to be called Muhammad Ali, he shall be called Muhammad Ali. Have you seen that movie?
No, I think I've seen
Eddie Murphy, Coming to America?
I haven't seen the movie. I've seen clips from it.
Okay, you need to watch the movie. We can watch that after we watch the World Cup game if you want. But
all right, sounds good.
This is hilarious. They're in the barbershop. So funny. Look it up. 1973, Canada begins production of Olympic coins. Thought that was pretty interesting. I'm not going to lie.
I like that.
1986, Doubleday Publishing sells the New York Mets to Nelson Doubleday and Fred Wilpon. 1990, James Worthy is arrested in Houston and charged with 2 counts of solicitation of prostitution. Shout out NBA.
Some classic controversy. Even though it's, 20 years, 30 years too late?
That's okay. It's always good to rip on NBA players causing problems for the NBA. 1993, I don't need to look at this clip. Don Shula becomes a coach with the most wins in NFL history. This clip is from Talladega Nights, Nathan. You've seen that.
I have not.
Jesus H. Christ. All right. Well, one of, I would say, Will Ferrell's most famous movies. He's at the bar and he's giving up on his career.
Never mind.
And
I know what it is.
His assistant comes and she's telling him, why aren't you driving? And he talks about how you've got to win to be loved. And he's talking about Don Shula and like that Asian guy who ate all those hot dogs. Great scene. And then this one's for you, Nate. 2010, German Red Bull driver Sebastian Vettel wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at Yas Marina Circuit to claim his first F1 World Drivers' Championship by 4 points from Fernando Alonso and his Red Bull's first constructors title as well. This kind of started the whole like Vettel, like great. Oh, well, my bad, but sorry, tried to be nice.
No, it's okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's this day in sports. Got a little sidetracked.
Abu Dhabi is also this weekend.
I know.
For those who are interested in the F1.
Didn't we see practice time set last weekend?
No, we watched Brazil.
Sao Paulo is what I was thinking of. Right. Okay.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
And then, so that's this day in sports. And we got MLB news. There's a fair amount, obviously, with free agency kind of getting into the swing of things. Obviously, we have awards getting announced, which we're going to start with. Nathan, I went ahead and added some baseball reference links here to the names in case you were interested. But Hank Aaron Award winners were released. Obviously, it's Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt in the NL. Both very, very well deserved. The Hank Aaron Award is, I find, very rarely controversial. It's pretty obvious. Whoever hits the most dick slappers gets the Dick Slapper Award. Platinum Glove winners. This one, bit of an upset here. Jose Trevino, first Yankee and first American League catcher to win a Platinum Glove in baseball history. How's that for you? Jose Trevino is a page you want to look at, Nate. Jose Trevino, basically before this year, just didn't really exist. First Yankee to win a Platinum Glove. You know what the Platinum Glove is, right? It's best defender.
Is it like the Gold Glove, but better?
It's the best defender, regardless of position, for each league. So Jose Trevino, I didn't know was an outstanding defensive catcher by any metrics. Never really played, I think, more than 46 games before this year. This year was just like clutch, played 115, had huge hits. Obviously was the best defender in the American League, which I wouldn't have guessed. So huge congratulations to him. This year was like nothing but storylines for him. It was, I think he hit like a walk-off home run on Father's Day, first time since his dad passed away or something, or like, you think he hit a home run his first at-bat back after like the birth of his son, like,
another good story.
All kinds of crazy stuff. So it really
this man living his own career.
Yeah, and went from like the Rangers team to the Yankees. Like, what a year. Nolan Arenado, something he's very used to. It's his 6th year in a row being the best defender in the National League.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Best third baseman in the history of baseball.
He's claimed 6 DPOYs in a row.
Oh God, yes, and like not even like really been that challenged. Like it's a clear favorite every year.
That's crazy.
We also got Silver Slugger awards. I'll put a big shot of them up on the screen, but I'm just gonna ramble through them here. For the American League, we have Alejandro Kirk, Nate Lowe, Jose Altuve, Xander Bogaerts, Jose Ramirez, Aaron Judge, Julio Rodriguez, Mike Trout, Yordan Alvarez, and Luis Arraez. A lot of Z's at the end of those.
There's, yeah.
Yeah, but no, seriously, this is probably a better lineup than what the American League All-Star put out this year. Like this outfield is like the greatest outfield to ever be assembled, I would say, if this was on a team. Aaron Judge, Julio Rodriguez, Mike Trout.
That's a pretty loaded outfield.
That's the most expensive outfield in the history of baseball by like a treble.
Yeah. That would be a very expensive outfield too.
Literally three of like, oh, that's so crazy. In the NL, we have JT Realmuto, Paul Goldschmidt, Jeff McNeil, Trey Turner, Nolan Arenado, Mookie Betts, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, Josh Bell, and Brandon Drury. 3 Padres to round out that list. How's that for you?
It's crazy that he got a Silver Slugger and Platinum Glove.
Well, that's because Nolan Arenado is the Jesus Christ of baseball, Nathan.
Oh, classic. Yes.
Brandon Drury winning the util is fucking very impressive. I wanted Brandon Drury to work out so bad when the Jays got him from the Dodgers. And he just didn't click. He had a bunch of playing time, didn't really find it. Went to Cincinnati, man, and just found it. Even played well with San Diego, not as well as he had with Cincinnati, but I hope he gets a good contract this year and gets to go play somewhere, man. And then we're getting to free agency, and I am going to go over kind of what the Jays offseason could look like this year. Nate, I might hear some opinions from you. I know you don't know anything, but I've got plenty of info for you here.
I know contracts, so hopefully that'll.
Just going over a couple minor free agency notes so far. Well, consider them how minor you will. Wilson Contreras declined his qualifying offer, which means he does have draft pick compensation attached to signing him. I don't think that means diddly squat. He's going to go get an absolute bag, without a doubt. Top catcher on the market this year, one of the top bats on the market this year. I'm excited to see what the market gives him. Kershaw signs a 1-year deal to go back with the Dodgers. I'm excited to see how many more years he does this. Just going to keep giving himself 1-year deals until he wants to be done. G-Man Choi traded from Pittsburgh from Tampa Bay. This happens in like every MLB The Show franchise sim that I've ever done. Like the Pirates, I mean, from like 2015 to 2017 to 2019 to 2022, every year that man goes to Pittsburgh. I hope it works. I like G-Man Choi. I'm glad he's not going to awkwardly punish the Jays in like really annoying situations anymore. Astros re-signed one of the top relief arms on the market this year, Rafael Montero, 3 years, $34.5 million. That's going to be perfect for him and them. Padres re-signed Robert Suarez to a 5-year, $46 million contract for a guy who never pitched in the majors before this year.
That is a lot of money.
Definitely look at this one, Nate. This guy's 31. Like I said, never played before this year. This year, he was San Diego's most consistent reliever all year long, without a doubt. He played in 45 games. He had a save, pitched 47 innings, 61 strikeouts, a 2.27 ERA, 1.4 baseball reference WAR. Yeah, this guy was lockdown for them, but this is like, in 2 years, we could be saying this is the best contract maybe in the history of relievers in baseball, or maybe this is the worst contract. It's not going to take 5 to find out.
That is a gamble.
Because you have to remember, too, this guy's 31.
Yeah, he's going to start regressing.
Relievers don't normally pitch to be 36 unless they're like crafty lefties. You know what I mean? Oliver Perez was 40, and that's because he was the name when he was good. So, really weird move for the Padres. Who
it's something to watch for sure.
They need the money. They said they'll spend until they win, but they need the money in other places than Robert Suarez. Rangers acquired Jake Odorizzi from the Braves. They have maybe the deepest starting pitcher position in their system in all of baseball. They have like 9 top of the line starters in most rotations. For Colby Allard, who is a starting pitcher, never really worked in Texas, and I didn't know was drafted by Atlanta and traded to Texas 3 years ago for Chris Martin, who is also a free agent option this year. And the Astros part way with general manager James Click. Anybody apparently who even was remotely around the situation knew this was happening. He rejected a 1-year offer from them before saying that he was done and they parted ways officially. But all year, him and the front office have been butting heads, supposedly. He took over when Jeff Luhnow was suspended after the whole scandal. I mean, hey, they won another World Series, so I guess that looks good on his resume, but he'll go somewhere. I'm excited to see what he does because he definitely had a hand in winning them this one. But yeah, that's all that has happened so far in free agency. It's going to take a while for pins to start falling, but once they do, it's going to be fast and furious, Nate. We might have to take a week off of football once that starts happening.
And just start covering all of the.
I'll have 3 pages of free agency transactions once they start going through, I promise. And now we'll get to what I called the Jays' ideal offseason. I don't know if I'm willing to call it that entirely, but it's probably what I would do with the offseason. So I have a list here just to start us off of some ARB-eligible guys. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but every one of these guys is due to make a substantially bigger amount of money. Some of them are very key, obviously. Teoscar Hernandez, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Danny Jansen, Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, Santiago Espinal, Jordan Romano. I mean, these are guys like starting lineup, faces of the team, lockdown closer. Everybody who's key to their core is due for a big raise this year. They do have a couple non-tender candidates, including Bradley Zimmer, Trent Thornton, and a lot of people say Raimel Tapia, but I differ on that a little bit. But those guys aren't going to save you any serious money, obviously. If they were going to save you money, you wouldn't non-tender them. They'd probably be worth it. But the Jays do have, in my mind, 3 needs. I think a lot of people give them 4 or 5. Starting pitcher, everybody agrees is number 1. Nathan, you're not even a Jays fan. You know they need starting pitching.
I do, yes.
Berrios, you can count on bouncing back from this year. His stat page will interest you, Nathan. This is Berrios. I don't know if you know, is one of statistically the most consistent pitchers in baseball. This year past is one of the most abhorrent, weird, standout years of a career like his.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing from this year.
And I think it's safe for now to rely on the fact that next year he's going to figure it out and it's going to be all right. Even if he doesn't, what he provided this year, although not good, it's in the rotation. It's good. He's not at risk of losing his job by any means, nor can he, since they signed him to a big extension. You say Kikuchi and Mitch White, on the other hand, I don't think you should consider them more than depth bullpen arms at best. I don't think either one of them has really proven that they're reliable enough to be a number 5 in your rotation. So that leaves you currently with 2 positions because Ross Stripling is a free agent. A reunion would be fun, but I don't know how much I would want to give him. I don't know how much the market is willing to give him, but I know that there are 30 teams who think he would be a definite addition to their pitching lineup. So I'm interested to see where the price falls. It would have to be more team friendly than I think it would be willing to be for me to think it's a great move. But what he provided this year is one of the biggest reasons why the Jays even made the playoffs. So I am, like I said, excited to see where that falls. I don't think it happens. The next thing the Jays need is definitely relievers. They have a great bullpen, and they can bring out basically the exact same bullpen with all of their key guys under team control. They have a lot of good relief arms in the minors, but they're not going to be major league ready for next year. And so this is kind of a weird addition because you only need a couple specific things. You need, in my opinion, more lefties, and specifically lefties with a lot of heat, lefties who can throw hard. You could also do with a righty with a different movement or arsenal. Some more heat in his stuff, but you can also do with kind of a breaking ball guy who's not a side armor to counteract the Adam Simber action. Basically, what this comes down to is you could use one or two, a lefty or a righty, bullpen arms. Definitely more heat, and I think that would give you one of maybe the best bullpens in baseball potentially if they kind of click and do what they did this year or improve. Infield depth is where I differ from a lot of people. Some people believe that there's no second baseman of the future on the roster. I, on the other hand, will keep playing Cavan Biggio if he's healthy until his breakout comes. Unlike Danny Jansen, I hope it doesn't come too late because I love having the Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero, Cavan Biggio, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., like sons of baseball gods, icons type of guys on the lineup. And I do like what Biggio provides. He's a utility guy. He can play second base. He can play the outfield. He can play anywhere around the infield. And he walks. He has one of the better eyes in baseball, but he just hasn't stayed healthy. Nathan, when's the last time as a non-baseball kind of fan directly that you heard the name like Cavan Biggio mentioned by like a news report or something?
When's the last time that I've heard Cavan Biggio mentioned by a news report?
Because he hasn't been playing. He's been injured. So I'm curious. Do you remember?
The last time I heard his name was the Jays game I went to.
There you go. So you had to actually be at the game.
Yes.
It's not good. He's better than that. And I like it too because him and Espinal can lefty righty platoon second base. Espinal's a proven all-star starter caliber almost. Like he might have the job outright at this point, but him and Biggio playing it, Espinal can back up shortstop and third base very fine as a plus defender, which has been a problem. They didn't have a lot of guys to give Bo and Matt days off, who those two notoriously want to play 162 games, but you need guys who can back them up, especially when injuries crop up. And outfield depth is another thing, and I kind of base this all on whether or not they make a signing or one of Lourdes or Teoscar they're not willing to pay. I think both should be paid. I think both could get reasonable team-friendly-ish deals that would still benefit the team and help them win a World Series. Tapia is likely being non-tendered, and it disappoints me because I think he provides more than he gets a lot of credit for. I like his value. And there is a quote from Shai Davidi here that kind of backs up what I'm talking about. Shai Davidi, if you don't know, is a reporter for Sportsnet. In an ideal world, the Blue Jays add a plus defensive center fielder who bats either left-handed or switch hits, allowing Springer to slide into right field. An ad would also likely push out either Hernandez or Lourdes Gurriel Jr., making that more of a transformative possibility. So I kind of agree, but what I do and what I think they should have done, Lourdes becomes basically your full-time DH. And now you can have the opportunity to have three better defenders in the outfield where Lourdes can go play if they need a day off. But what he provides with the bat is what matters. Keep him in the lineup, let him hit, let him focus on that. Bring that power back. Maybe don't make him play so much in the outfield and he can get some more bombs out of the bat than he did this year. I think that provides a massive boost to the lineup. So I'm interested to see how the real version plays out. But Nathan, this is where maybe you can come in a little bit. So I've got a lot of notes here. The Blue Jays have an interesting financial situation. They have a payroll around $175 million right now for the 26-man roster, and without doing anything to it, are going to go higher than that in 2023. Okay. They've already picked up a $3 million option on Anthony Bass. They'll have about $120 million committed to 10 players at that point, which they do now. Their 13 ARB-eligible players who earned about $35 million this year are going to jump to around $62 million next year, projected. And then once you factor all that in, you're pushing 190 million at this point. So you're getting up to those like first threshold tax limits. Next fall is, I think, a key kind of bookmark for this, because you have Hyunjin Ryu, Teoscar Hernandez, Matt Chapman, and Lourdes Gurriel, more than $50 million worth, all coming off the books after next season. So they'll need to be re-signed or replaced, but that's where a lot of your opportunities come in. So this year is kind of a patch over year to next year when you can do the reshuffle.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have a lot of money this year, so you're going to have to look at a lot of value guys, and you're going to have to look at a lot of kind of the depth holes. So that's why I think a lot of their weaknesses right now line up okay with where the payroll is at, because the depth of your starting rotation and your bench / fourth outfield kind of guy is not going to cost you a lot. You're also not going to be able to go get like the Aaron Judges this year or anything like that, but that's fine. You don't need to. So I have a list of some possible signings here. Do you recognize any of these names off the bat, Nathan?
Manea.
Sean Manea, okay.
Quintana.
Mm-hmm.
Stripling, you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. The next row is all relievers.
Is Kenley Jansen related to Danny?
No, Kenley Jansen was the Dodgers closer for like the last decade.
Jose Alvarez.
Okay.
Segura.
Yeah.
And Mitch Haniger.
Okay, so you know some of the key guys here in this list.
Yeah.
The full list: starting pitchers: Kyle Gibson, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana, Tyler Anderson, and Ross Stripling. Relievers: Taylor Rogers, Chris Martin, Kenley Jansen, Matt Strom, Chad Green, Andrew Chafin, and Jose Alvarez. Shortstops: infielders: Gene Segura and Adam Frazier, and then outfielders: AJ Pollock, Mitch Haniger, and Tyler Naquin. This is the list of guys that I think make the most sense for the Jays, fit within their budget, fit within their timeline, that help them in a win now situation, that provide something they already are lacking. This is probably, I think, realistically, the only options the Jays have this year. I could be wrong, but this is what I think. What I would do now is, unfortunately, and this is, I think, probably the biggest move of the offseason, trade catcher Danny Jansen. I love Danny Jansen. Love him. Think he's fantastic. Think he's an incredible guy. Great interview. Great player. Great teammate. Does everything right. The only thing is, it's one of the most premium positions in the league right now, and it's, in my opinion, by far the deepest in the Jays system. Danny Jansen, Alejandro Kirk, and Gabby Moreno all on the major league roster next year is possible. It's not very conducive in my mind to winning a World Series if you're devoted to all of those guys getting catcher time. It's just not consistent enough. You ever hear like the old saying, Nathan, in football, you have two quarterbacks, you have none?
Yeah.
If you have three catchers,
it's the situation that's going on there, that was going on in Seattle there for a bit.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. I think that of them, Danny Jansen's the one that's the most expendable, because he can still easily command like a young, reliable, controllable starter, which would fill a major gap for the Jays. And not for nothing, Danny Jansen's probably the Jays' best game caller, but his bat has taken so many years to develop, and his injuries have hampered him so much that Kirk has had the chance to develop to be one of the better defensive catchers in the league, obviously by winning, the platinum or the gold or the silver slugger. He's got one of the better bats. We know that. He's an all-star. He's a starter in the all-star game. He's proven like he is the number one catcher without a doubt. He lines up well with your ace pitcher. Like Alek Manoah and him that's their battery. So he's kind of let himself out of the lineup with injuries, and the bat's good. The bat's going to play. If he carries what he did this year to next year, he has a chance to be an all-star if he's healthy. But I think it comes down to the fact that Moreno is a prospect I'm not willing to move from, and Kirk has proven himself too good. So Danny Jansen gets traded. It gives Kirk the run as the starter. It gives Moreno time to play, and it clears the bench spot for somebody else to produce. Shout out Jays News and Info on Instagram. there was a trade that he mocked for Whit Merrifield to the Chicago White Sox for Joe Kelly and Jose Ruiz, both right arm relievers. I like it. Whit Merrifield, for me, got acquired about 4 years too late. He provided something down the stretch, but it's just not enough for me to be convinced that he deserves a spot in the roster next year. Traded him to Chicago, who can always use backup infielders, always. Not to mention Whit can play the outfield. And Joe Kelly and Jose Ruiz are both kind of like buy low candidates, I feel like, for upside in the bullpen, which you need, especially when you get to the playoffs. Bullpen depth is huge. I think that would, again, clear up a bench spot, which is now 2 if you're counting. And the relief options get so much deeper. So now we get to like what I really want to hear from you on, Nathan, is my signings. Right. I based these values here in the brackets. You can see like years and value, kind of on some projections that I found for these guys, kind of on my own thoughts. I'm just going to read through the list really quick. This is everybody I think you sign if you're the Jays. Tyler Anderson, 3 years, $45 million. Chad Green, 2 years, $10 million. Jose Alvarez, 1 year, $2 million. Adam Frazier, 1 year, $7 million. AJ Pollock or Tyler Naquin, both of them get 1 year, $5 million. And the most unlikely reach that definitely doesn't happen this year that I think would make this the most crazy A+ year is signing Brandon Nimmo to a 5-year, $115 million contract. Just to break those down a little bit, Tyler Anderson, good starting pitcher for the Dodgers this year. The Jays have obviously had success with Ross Stripling, with Ryu coming from the Dodgers. They like that system. They like those guys. Tyler Anderson's a great pitcher. He's a value pitcher because he's a bit older, took a bit longer to break out. I think you can get him, you could lock him in as your 4, and you can let the depth fight for 5, and you can rely on Manoah, Gosman, Barrios, and then Anderson to get you a week's worth of games played. Chad Green and Jose Alvarez, both relievers, righty, lefty, both kind of fit the profiles I talked about earlier. These contracts I'm a little unsure of. Chad Green, I think you definitely go multiple years. Jose Alvarez, you definitely go 1 year as low as you can.
Just how much, yeah.
Both of them, I think, provide high upside. And if you make that trade for Joe Kelly and Jose Ruiz, Joe Kelly maybe makes the major league roster. Jose Ruiz fights to get in, and you reshuffle from there because both these guys add something the bullpen doesn't have. And then just to finish it off here, Adam Frazier, love the Jays have wanted him for years. Perfect fit, cheap, 1 year, excellent defense, excellent contact, perfect backup guy. AJ Pollock and Tyler Naquin for me provide almost the same thing. People say Naquin's a better defender. I probably agree with them, but I like Pollock's bat a little bit more. Kind of depends what you go for. And Brandon Nimmo is definitely not coming to the Blue Jays. He's going to go get a bag. But if they got him, moved Lourdes to the DH spot, I think your outfield's set for like the next series of World Series runs. Nathan, have you had a chance to think about any of these?
The main one I looked at was Jose Alvarez, just because the contract seems like an anomaly in terms of what I would consider like a standard baseball contract.
Right. 1 year, $2 million is a little surprising to you, eh?
It is. Well, because like it's like a vetman, right?
Exactly.
So like I don't think it's a bad contract by any means. I think it would be probably, like, judging by his page, I think that's a 100% like doable.
Well, I think if you look at his salaries, like the last time he made over $2 million was 2020 with the Phillies. He made almost $3 million. And then with the Giants the last 2 years, he made just over $1 million and then 1.5. So I think being 34 years old, you just give him,
sounds about right though.
Yeah, and $2 million for 1 year is basically nothing in the grand scheme of things. You don't exactly. It doesn't end up adding up to a whole lot. So just for what he is and what he can do, I think that he's like one of the best value relievers on the market this year. But as a lefty, you kind of have that natural upside throughout your career anyway.
Yeah. And then for the little conundrum at the bottom, I would go with the better bat. I would go for the better offense in terms of the better defense.
That's what I like. But as these guys would maybe be like a string third, probably fourth outfielder, the Jays for those positions have been going for defensive guys. Jackie Bradley Jr. was exactly that. Whit Merrifield was kind of that. There was a couple other ones this year where it's like, really? Like, it's a black hole in the batting order, which they can kind of afford. The only reason
defense.
I know, but the only reason I think Tyler Naquin is probably the more likely one is because the front office for the Jays comes from Cleveland, and that's where Tyler Naquin came from at the beginning of his career.
So there's like a bias towards it.
There is, and Tyler Naquin's younger than AJ Pollock is as well. I'm not sure by how much. Tyler Naquin, 31. I think AJ Pollock is, 34, almost 35. So, little bit, whatever. This year, though, Tyler Naquin had a -3 baseball reference WAR, 11 homers, 229 batting average. AJ Pollock had 0.4 WAR, 14 homers, 245 batting average, and had 100 more at bats roughly. So, I don't know. I think that either one of them could kind of provide something at the end of your bench for your outfield. Because their outfield options in the minors right now, outside of maybe Nathan Lucas, are not really major league ready. But yeah, I don't know. Is there any other one, Nate, that you think you might have a feeling on?
Pretty much it.
I don't know. I feel like if this is the case, this is like for what the year is, this is like maybe an A plus like off seasons. I think this is like the top of the line. I think if you're not
splashing huge, you're making just like the small changes that need to be made.
You're filling in the cracks. That's all you're doing. I think
because you've already splashed. You've already got your big guys.
If you get Tyler Anderson, one of Chad Green or Jose Alvarez, and maybe a bat of the caliber of Adam Frazier, AJ Pollock, Tyler Naquin, that would be like very, very positive, realistic outcome. Tyler Anderson and one of Chad Green or Jose Alvarez are like what I hope for as the bare minimum as a fan. So that's kind of my range. That's kind of what I hope for. That's kind of what I think would get us farther next year and get us to a point where we can, okay, money on the table. What do we need to do? Reassess. And at that point, I think you're locked in for, one more big contract, get these stars paid, and we got to go get some World Series because don't want time to run out on guys like Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. That would be the worst case scenario for a franchise.
100%.
And so we're at an hour and a half.
Do we want to speed run football?
NFL. I do want to maybe just talk about a couple games really quick. NFL Week 10, Bucks, Seahawks, Germany. Really good game. Did you watch it, Nate?
I didn't, no.
I watched the first half of it, and then I went to the CFL. It was a great game. I didn't see where Leonard Fournette tried to throw to Tom Brady, and he slipped and fell, and Fournette threw a really ugly interception. But other than that, it was a fun game. They held off the Seahawks. They snapped the losing streak. Good for them. Lions edge the Bears. I don't care about this other than because of Justin Fields. Nate, the saga continues. 12 for 20. He hit the 20 threshold. 20? Only 167 yards, but he had 2 TDs and an interception. Okay.
He's got Chase alongside him now, so he's got a little bit.
It's funny you mentioned that. He had 13 carries, 147 yards, 2 TDs, so almost mimicked his throwing stat lines. And he was the team's leading rusher by almost triple. Cole Kmet had both his receiving TDs. Chase Claypool, 1 reception, 8 yards. So
maybe not.
Maybe not. The other one, I wanted to say the new addition, Jeffrey Wilson and Dolphins in Miami, had a huge rushing day where they stomped the Browns. Tua was a monster too.
He's Tua.
Your Jags suck.
Oh, I knew that. Don't worry.
Just so you know. Trevor Lawrence played well, and Christian Kirk had a big 2 TD day, but Mahomes threw 4 TDs. So every one of them was to a different receiver, by the way. That's how you win football games.
Diversity right there.
That's how you win football games.
Yeah.
Aaron Paul. Sorry?
The one game I did watch was after the game that we're about to talk about.
Well, I'm skipping ahead, so I don't know which one.
I heard you started. So keep going.
Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston were at the Cardinals-Rams game. Just thought that was worth noting. Big Breaking Bad fan. And Nate.
That was the game I watched.
Packers finally kick out of it in overtime, 31-28 over the Cowboys.
Cowboys were up like a decent amount too.
It's about goddamn time that the Packers showed some signs of life, though.
I know, right? You're supposed to be one of the better teams in the NFL, and they've just been flopping like a dead fish.
Well, you're supposed to be one of like the NFL legacy dynasties. Like, you know what I mean? You're not supposed to have a shaky season. So it's good to see them, like I said, finally kick out of it. Couple things happened in college football. Vanderbilt beat Kentucky for their first SEC win since 2019. That's huge. Washington tanks Oregon's playoff hopes a week after we were talking about how they just restored them.
Let's go.
Maybe 2 weeks after, but yeah, that's upsetting. And TCU remains undefeated over Texas. So
let's go.
That's huge. And to polish her off, like I said, CFL, if you're not watching it, I'm mad at you. I watched the Argos play the Alouettes in Toronto, and it was, like I said, one of the better CFL games I've watched. Grey Cup next week, because the Argos are going to play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They beat the BC Lions. I believe it was a final of like 35-14 or something. It wasn't very close. And it's going to be one hell of a match. The Blue Bombers and the Argos. It's going to be a very exciting game. The Argos are currently, I can't imagine a comparison of how stacked they are at every position. It's just like, oh, they just have, the best player at that position this year. Right on. 2 of the top receivers, the best running back in the history of the CFL. Their defense is filled with absolute animals who have just topped the league's defensive rating charts on every single fucking metric you can imagine. Like, they're just a stellar football team.
Yeah.
And the CFL, I was watching it, I'm like, God, I remember why I love this so much. It's got so much like character and passion to it and stuff. Like, there's so much every player is so much more fun. Exactly, but like they get camera time after touchdowns. Yeah. You can hear them, like they get interviews, multiple players a game after the game, like immediately following. There's just all kinds of guys coming up. Like there's just like a much more, I don't know if it's just because it's smaller and more local or something, or if it I don't know what it is. It just seems like you get so much more content out of the actual teams and the players that you're watching, rather than just people talking about what you just watched with the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Football is a whole different breed compared to the NFL. You got to watch it. It's way more exciting. Nathan, it's on Sunday. I don't know what you're doing. We could get weird. We can watch the
Sunday is also Sunday's also when the World Cup starts.
Oh my God! So we have stuff.
We have a double header of football, just 2 different times.
Let's see what time the Grey Cup, Sunday, November 20th, 6 p.m.
I don't know when let's go check the World Cup.
The World Cup's on Wednesday.
Oh no, that's Canada. Qatar plays.
Oh yeah, that's true, I guess.
Qatar plays 11 a.m., so I'm not watching that.
Oh Jesus, yeah, you won't be up for that.
I will not.
Well, the Grey Cup starts at 6 p.m., so we could roll you out of bed for that one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, it is a great game. I would love to go like I don't know. I don't know if it's still like fun to go watch games in bars, but I feel like I'd like to do that for that one.
Maybe get the boys together.
Oh, that would be fuck the boys. Let's get intimate, Nathan. You
All right. Good.
All right, and yeah, that wraps us up. That was one hell of an episode. But I like it, Nate. You made hockey your own. I'm proud of you.
Maybe we'll pick up hockey from here on. Who knows?
I hope so. I like talking about it. I'm finding it hard to keep writing about it. So, but yeah, Nate, next week, keep an eye out for Rebrand, right?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see what happens with that.
We'll see.
And regardless, you'll be getting a show from this location. Might be called something else, but you'll be getting a show. So tune in next week. Hopefully same time as always. And thank you once again for listening. Bye-bye.